call him. He was the expediter. He was the MC for that service. You know, first jurisdiction, Church of God in Christ. But it was a good weekend. It was a good week. And again, I am exhausted. I'm tired. Did I see you? Did you go to any services? He was the
I
expediter.
went.
He was the MC. Oh, so nobody heard anything that I said before that.
So yeah.
Oh no, that's the delay.
That's cool.
No.
It ain't no
That's
delay.
our podcast was having some issues,
Okay.
audio issues, but it's on now.
Okay, cool.
I went to Good Shepherd night, which was Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Wednesday because I played, and then I was on official day, but I was only there for a short while. Then I went home.
Okay. No, I feel you.
I wanted to hear Elder Steve do Sunday school.
Oh.
So
That's the thing I don't go to.
yeah. So I went to Sunday school only because I'm an avid reader. So I did catch Superintendent Sean Clark. I love him
Yeah.
as a preacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love his preaching. I caught Evangelist Nicole Allen.
Listen.
She was on Wednesday night.
Yeah. the whole week was fire.
So, yeah, I missed Superintendent Clark. Superintendent Allen, her dad. He's good too.
Yeah.
And then Pastor Hogan preached Monday.
Yep.
Friday was Mother Fontaine, correct?
Yes.
And then Saturday, I'm not sure who preached
Elder
Saturday.
Smart.
Elder
He's
Smart.
like the president of the youth or something.
I was gonna go Saturday, but
It was dope.
I wanted to go, but I needed to do laundry. I didn't want to show up to church in sweatpants because I knew somebody was gonna judge me. Somebody was gonna do it. I knew it, so I didn't go in my sweatpants. I apologize, but I did want to go just because I want to be a part of the youth ministry and stuff like that. Just to be a part, see what's going on, see what's happening. But I did not go. I ended up helping my aunt. She's trying to get her church together. And then Sunday, we had church, and I went home and relaxed after church. I went to 2 church services. The district was the third one, and that's when I only went to Sunday school, and then I dipped out of there. My bad. But I was with Jesus all day, I tell you that.
That's all that matters.
I went Friday.
You went Friday?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I did. Yeah, I saw KJ. I did. His mom and
Yes.
my sister.
Congratulations,
were what's the
Missionary
term?
Wilson, right?
Yes.
They're both missionary Wilsons.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Oh, you're right. Your
yeah.
sister is Wilson.
But yeah, it was nice to see you there. It was nice. It was good.
Stop by for a little second. It was cool. I'm critical, always. So that's always like a unique experience.
I bet.
And me and my mom had a really good conversation because see, the thing is, I'm not like I'm a listener.
Okay.
So like I'm like actually coming from a place and trying to see if we get somewhere.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I was like asking her questions and I'm like, oh, what did you get from this? Or what did you know what I mean? Like I'm paying attention.
Right.
So then me and her had like a great conversation all Saturday morning.
Nice.
About it. And that'll
Who
be
teaches the missionary class, you know?
I have no idea.
Nope, I'm not gonna act like I know. Nope, I'm not gonna do that.
It's all good.
And plus, I think they had been missionaries.
It was a couple
like,
years.
Yeah.
It was a couple years.
Well,
then
because
something happened.
Yeah.
So
a lot
then,
of stuff.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So then they had to postpone and all these things of that nature. But yeah, and it's funny. I spoke with my mom about there's so much church in that week for you guys.
Yes.
There was
something
something.
more church in like 2 weeks.
There was something during the day on the Friday.
Oh, for the women, yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, She said she said the things I was saying to her had a lot to do with those conversations.
Nice.
Because they were talking about generations there, I guess, and just going through the generations of saints and things of that nature. And I was talking about the youth thing and how, like, people shouldn't feel excluded.
Yes.
Because of their age, like, what I mean? Like, oh, that's what the young people are now. I was like, that's
Right,
not
right.
really. I was like, you guys talked about like all these years. I was like, nobody that's there was at the first one.
Very true.
So if you want, like, just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I was like, if you want teachings to remain, like, it doesn't work through segregation. It doesn't work through separation.
Yes.
It doesn't work through not working in concert. So
Yep.
I was like, in my opinion, I feel like young people need to feel like y'all care. And not that you try and do what they do. You ain't gotta but show support.
Nah,
Like
I
you
get
want them
you.
to go to your service, like go
Right.
to their service, and you could just be
Right.
you could be spectator, like while they just vibe and have a good time. Be like,
Well,
man, I
and then
remember
on
when I
top
used
of
to be that lit.
Yeah, on top of that, it's just like, all right, the kids have to sit and pay attention during all the services. They
Exactly.
only get the one. So I definitely agree with where you're coming from. I had the conversation with my mom, not my mom, my grandmother and my aunt actually yesterday. So we had a similar conversation about basically training up, like the way that the Bible says train up a child in the way that it should go, and when they get old, they won't depart from it. I think one of the big things. Oh, what up, T-Dub?
Oh my man, tell him what's up, bro, what's good?
So yeah, I think one of the things that we should be mindful of is that we have to be willing to let people do things themselves. So we have to be willing to kind of like take a back seat and allow the youth to run a service, or allow them to do the things that the older people typically do, only because we're not going to be here forever. At some point, we're going to pass on. And what's going to happen is either they're going to know how to do it or they're not going to know how to do it. But the way, if you take a step to the side, I love when pastors retire. I love when pastors...
AJ and I were just having a conversation about this.
Yeah, so I love when pastors retire. I love when pastors take on a co-pastor, and they take on a youth pastor, because it
Delegate.
Yes, I love when pastors delegate, because this gives an opportunity for someone to learn what it means to be a pastor, or to do such and such a thing. But it also gives the ability for the person that's been doing it and has the wisdom to depart. What's the word I'm looking for? Impart. Thank you. To impart that wisdom into the next generation.
I mean, the thing is like, pardon me for interrupting you, but it's allowing in order for the person in leadership to cultivate the next leader, they'd have to be able to relinquish some of their leadership while they're still available.
Correct.
Otherwise, everyone's following. You're not training them.
Right.
And they're not getting on the job training, for lack of better words,
Right.
to be able to learn the things that you would like to see. And the thing is like, the ministry is going to outlive you.
Exactly. Well, that's the hope, at least.
Yeah.
That should be the goal.
It should be. I think a lot of times we lose sight of the goal.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of times we lose sight of what the overall goal is, because we have our own personal goals. And we start to feed into our own personal goals a lot of times, not in spite of the church or in spite of anything, but just because we're thinking about how we can help. And also, to play devil's advocate, a lot of times there are things that the pastors and missionaries and leadership has to do of their own accord. So they're used to depending on themselves. They're used to, I have to go out and do X, Y, and Z in order to make ABC make sense. So it's difficult for them to delegate. And I might have talked to KJ about this before when I was talking about Moses. Like, Moses had an issue where after they escaped from Pharaoh in Egypt, God told him to get delegates. He said, you have too much work. You're doing too much. You don't have enough time to do all these things that I'm asking you to do. And I did it on purpose.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have time to do these things. You're supposed to be able to delegate.
Right.
So you're supposed to be able to take this information that I'm giving you and give it to somebody else to run with it. And this isn't the same scripture, but this is where we get the concept of write the vision and make it plain. Because of the person that reads it is supposed to be able to run with it.
Right.
So it takes discernment because you want to make sure that you pick somebody who's able to do it and do what they're supposed to do. But it also takes a level of humility.
Right.
Because the people that you give the people that you give the power to, essentially, aren't going to do it exactly how you envision it. They're going to do it how God leads them to do it, hopefully. But that may not always line up with what you envision.
Right.
The hope is that you're able to say, God, let your will be done, and kind of guide them along the path and just make sure that they stay on it, kind of thing. But it's a level of trust that you have to do in order to relinquish it.
Right. No, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, I would appreciate to be able to have this conversation with leadership, with like people who are in place and see what
100%.
their thoughts are in that regard. Because I mean, we can speculate how that
Absolutely.
really goes. I mean, like I said, we were just talking about this the other day, and it was just like, there are churches, there are leaders or pastors in place that don't have a contingency plan, that don't have anything in place to make sure the church is still running effectively if something happens. Or
I think more than none. More than not.
yeah, right. So and it's like, these legacy churches where it's like they're in families and things like that. So I definitely I think we should make this a topic at some point, like, because no, I'm just saying, because like I want to know,
It's
like,
interesting,
what y'all
yeah.
doing. Like,
Well, no, it's definitely interesting. It's
Yeah.
definitely interesting to put in the context and then to see. But like, just to speak towards, I was just speaking towards, like, I can understand it being difficult. Especially, like, all right, so, like, I think about it from, we all seen This Is Us. Okay, we all seen This Is Us. But little spoilers, not too many. If you haven't seen This Is Us, great show. But giving up your child for adoption, right? Because what's his name? Randall's father gives up his child for adoption, and they watch from a distance. Like, and I think when you're passing down your church or the vision that God has given you to someone else, like, it has to be difficult when you've put so much of your heart into it.
or you try to. Because, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, getting Randall in my mind, there was a very distinct reason why they
did it.
why
Correct.
they did it, and they believed that they were doing the best thing for him.
Correct.
And that is, I believe, how most leaders should be in,
Yes.
their mind frame should be, and how they should operate. Like, if there's a point where you can't do what you used to do,
Right.
maybe it's time.
But this,
Maybe we gotta put this in some
this is
routine.
why this is why I nudged the conversation.
Yeah, no.
Because I'm like,
Yeah. But also, like, if you get to pick, you want to pick right, and you want to
Absolutely.
instill that wisdom, and
That's the scary part. I think that's the scary part about it, is trying to find somebody who you like. I think when God drops somebody on you and you're comfortable with that person, and you're like, oh yeah, this person's perfect, I think it's an easy transition. But I think when on the opposite side, when you don't know, or you're looking at it like, I see it from this point of view and I see who they are today, I don't know where God is taking them, but God is telling me to give it to them, and I'm weary. Like, because, like, to have faith in God means to have faith in Him in all instances, and, like, He may have someone who I'm thinking of a particular instance. I won't go into it, but He may have someone in mind that doesn't actually look the part at that time. Like, it doesn't actually look the part when you're actually imparting, okay, I'm supposed to train this person up. And you're like, but what about, I got this person? Like, if God didn't choose Moses, and there was somebody before Moses, and like they got the chance to pick between Moses and Aaron. Most people would have picked Aaron. Aaron was the better speaker. He was the one that looked like leadership. He was the one that looked the part. However, Moses was the obedient one. He was the one that was going to actually do what God told him to do. Right. And I think
it's not for it's not for anybody to say though.
No, it's not.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
like that's when you get into that, like, yo, are you listening to yourself?
Right.
Or are you listening to God? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you feel like God in fact called someone,
Right.
like, you know, are you trusting him?
Right.
Like, that's why when you said weary, I'm like, I get that part.
Right.
I could get doing something begrudgingly, but you are supposed to just do what he
Right.
said.
You're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I may not get it, but this sounds crazy, but you know what you talk about, I guess.
I know that God knows what he's doing. Right. However, I'm weary because I'm like, well, I know God knows, but this person, they're still trying to figure it out. Like, it could be weird. Or
but,
like,
yeah, I was gonna ask
what?
though, but like, how do we know?
What's
like,
up, Adrian?
What God's saying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Prayer.
nah, like
yeah.
in terms of like who God sees is gonna be the best fit or whatever. Like,
I would
you know what I
imagine the same way that he reveals to you whom should be doing whatever the case may be, would be the same way you'd pray and be like, yo, could you help me understand this? Because this seems like it don't make sense to me.
I thought you were going to quote a scripture. So,
Oh, nah, that ain't me.
I got you. So who's faithful over little will be faithful over much is the what scripture I thought you were going to quote.
okay.
But that would have lined up. So, yes. So I think the Bible says you should know them by their fruit. So it's going to be someone who is in the vineyard working, but not particularly looking to be, like, not doing it for show. We talked about this earlier. Doing things to be seen as opposed to just doing it because it's the right thing to do. I think that's what you kind of have to look for, and you would only find that when you begin to search for someone who really cares about something. So I also think about David. The Bible says David had a heart after David had a heart after God's heart. So he wanted to do what God wanted. Majority of the time. I won't say at all times, but majority of the time. Probably at all times. He just messed up a couple times and he was like, bad. But David wanted to the whole tabernacle, the whole temple that was built, David wanted to build it. That was David's dream. He wanted to build a temple to God that you could see from everywhere with all the best stuff. Like, this was David's dream. However, because of what David did, God told him he couldn't build it. But he allowed Solomon, his son, to build it.
Right.
Which I think is a little bit easier to swallow. Because it's like, all right, I wanted to do this, and I think it's still going to be tough.
Sorry.
My bad.
I want to
My
go
bad.
so bad.
My bad.
Sounds even worse.
Oh.
Have you ever been okay.
My bad.
I'm not gonna.
But
Trying to grow up.
Right.
Making things so difficult.
But yeah, so like, for him to have these feelings towards it and then be told no, that I'm gonna let your son do it. I mean, it's humbling, but at the same time, like, I can only imagine that it hurt. Like, a part of it had to hurt. Because this is something that you've always dreamt of doing. This is something that you wanted to do. This is something that you've put in your mind. This is something I'm going to do. This is it. Like I said, this is like a goal, and this is what happens. We put our personal goals in front of what God wants, and that's why I can only imagine that it must have been tough to hear God say no.
Well, speaking of personal goals, our topic could be a personal goal.
My bad. You right.
Sorry. That was not a good segue.
Since we didn't.
A personal goal can be cultivating the desire to be more forgiving.
You right. We are off on a wild tangent.
Yes, our
man.
intro extended
It
for
did.
longer than it was supposed to.
It did.
My bad.
It's
But
cool. But we'll
circle
circle
back.
back for sure.
That's a great future topic.
Yeah.
So tune in on that episode as well.
So yeah, how can you cultivate a more forgiving?
How can you cultivate a desire to be?
Desire to be more forgiving.
Yeah.
There it
Yes.
is.
So it's not even saying like, hey, you're going to
What
be
up,
this
Amber?
forgiving person.
No, not at all.
Just saying how, like, can we even get into the realm of like wanting to be forgiven? Let's start there. Like,
Forgiven or forgiving?
forgiving.
Okay.
To be able to forgive. Now,
I gotta go back to my stubborn days.
listen here.
I have those.
You
I'm still active.
Yeah, nah.
He said I'm still a partaker. We took off for that last week.
Tell me, bro. Well, I mean, it seems like the answer to everything is prayer, of course. And you know what I mean? Like you do pray to develop those skills. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes selfishly for me, if I have a genuine desire to be forgiven, it reveals that someone may feel that way that I don't forgive.
Yes.
And it makes me identify with like, wow, like I wish someone would just let up on that grudge that they're holding against me because I'm really remorseful and I'd like to rectify that. And it like unfortunately in my more selfish moments,
right,
it's good to just see how it feels to be if the shoe was on the other foot, for lack of better words. Mm-hmm. So when I see that, I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, maybe I need like I'm seeking grace from someone,
right,
but am I giving grace to others? Am I giving the type of grace that I'm seeking?
right.
So with that being said, like that's one. I mean, there's a lot of better ways, but that is one selfish way that helps me be able to be like, okay, if I could see me in the person that's giving me a tough time, and I'm giving someone else a tough time, then I kind of know where I need to get to.
Right. So I was reflecting on the situation that's still unfolding in my life, and realized that I had gone above and beyond, but I had extended myself to a point that I didn't think I would be willing to. But this was a push from the Lord for sure. To kind of be like, yo, we're not seeing eye to eye on some things, but I don't want to hate you. And I don't want you to feel this negative energy, or for me to feel this negative energy every time we get into each other's, and keep it a buck. This is my manager. And I gotta see her, but I had to accept that there was an apology that was needed that I was never going to get. And that, man, and it took me a minute to get there. And I think I just realized it, like, I am never going to get an apology for the way that I was treated, the things that were said to me, anything. But I had to be the bigger person and be like, yo, let's let bygones be bygones. I don't want this. I really didn't. I was just so tired. Like, I don't want to. Oh, I'm gonna feel bad for saying this, but the black girl energy that I was giving her, she could not handle.
Could you define this black girl energy?
So,
I mean, because if anyone else that is in front of a mic right now define that, we have lots of reason to be wrong. I'd love for you to define so we can be on the same page with you as you tell the story. Go ahead.
So we just have a way, and it's not even that we're being away. We just have this innate ability to command the room.
Okay.
And I command the room, even in my my status not being as high as hers. She always felt, I'm assuming, but it just seemed like she wanted me to feel small in her presence. I wasn't gonna let that happen.
Due to position and hierarchy?
Due to position, absolutely due to position. Listen, I don't know how white people think. I don't know, but um, but also, like, oh gosh, I don't even know if I should. Culturally speaking, I know that she wants to identify with the black culture, and that's another space where we were butting heads. So,
Can I ask a question?
go ahead, please ask.
All right. So your supervisor is a woman.
White man, white woman.
White
Sorry,
woman. Okay.
white woman.
You called her a man earlier. So.
I did.
Yep, that's what I was trying to.
A white
like,
woman.
Okay, white woman. That was my next question. My next question is gonna be of what ethnicity? But all right. So. So, do you feel like she's trying to relate with you? Because I know you say she's like.
Doesn't matter.
When you say relate, like what is that? Because we're
like,
both females. Boom.
No,
Like,
not like.
that's all I got for
I
you.
thought you said that she was trying. What is it?
You think you work there? Why is it so tough for you to?
Right. You said. I thought you said. I may have misheard that she was trying to
Relate to the black culture?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is that is? So do you think she's trying to relate to you or relate to?
No, not to me personally.
Oh, you think she
But
just like that? Like that?
Well, I don't want to generalize, but she's married to a black man.
God, I knew that was coming. I was like, this is about to get to niggas.
She has some extracurricular homework.
No,
man.
and
She's
I mean, not for nothing. I just feel like while we don't try to necessarily, we as black women, we really try to stay in our own space, in our own lane, in our own little corner, but
Yep.
people keep. Stop.
No, I have
Made in the
so
bubble.
many responses of not
But
saying.
people keep trying to infiltrate our space. Like, I can't deny that a lot. Like, come on now. I don't even. This is not the. But.
Oh my god.
You can't beat me. That's it. That's it.
Oh man.
Okay, so
Nope.
No. But the point was. Let's get back.
Oh, there we go.
The point was that I extended this olive branch. I had to be the bigger person, and I didn't necessarily want to be, but I knew that was the only way. And again, it was a push from God, 100% push from God, for me to speak up and be like, "Hey, I don't want this for either of us. I would like to, have a space where we're peaceful and we're able to speak and enjoy even our coworkers' company without the energy shifting." Because people would comment on the fact that, oh, you guys don't speak to each other. Oh, she did this or whatever. And
Oh, it was noticeably
very
adversarial.
very
Okay.
noticeably noticeable.
Cool.
But yeah, so it wasn't anything that I did on my own strength. I can promise you that. But it was a game changer for sure. I've been seeing God move. I've been seeing God move in a mighty way since doing that, and it's like, yo, just be obedient. Like, man, you got to if you're going to be, a part of the chosen. If you're gonna walk with God, there's gonna be a lot of things that you're going to have to do that you may not necessarily want to do. That
Correct.
Conflicts with the ego. That conflicts with just the nature of the world. I don't want to say bow down, but it was difficult. It was difficult to be like, hey, we're wrong. We're both wrong, but I'm going to to accept this defeat here.
I think
That's what it felt like.
It's definitely a victory. You just don't. You don't. See
I feel you.
But,
I agree.
So no, I think that speaks volumes, and I think that's something that we can learn from. Only because what Siobhan just said is that being the person that's underneath that person, even understanding that she wasn't in the wrong, being able to apologize and seek peace from that place and like is huge. So like even because a lot of times we get stuck in, but I wasn't wrong. Like that's the real thing.
Yeah.
I'm not the problem. It wasn't me. I didn't say that. Like she said that to me, or he said that to me. They need to apologize to me, and now there's a hostile work environment because neither one of us want to apologize. Like, and that's where a lot of people live. Like, and even though you're not the problem per se, your pride is a little bit of a problem to God. So like, even though we're not offending the person because we didn't do anything to them, the pride is what the thing that stinks to God because he's like, well, why didn't you just apologize? Like, even though you didn't do it, like, even though
I'd be
you
like,
didn't say
Lord,
anything,
do you see what she doing?
right? Because that's exactly what we do. We'd be like, but look at what they doing to me. He'd be like, but what are you doing to them? Like,
Yeah.
And I mean, like to your point, I believe that if forgiveness was easy,
everybody do it.
exactly.
Everybody do it.
So it's kind of testing, it's testing your ability
Yeah.
to submit, to be willing to listen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the amount of listening and willingness to follow God that you exhibited when like you may not even think that is what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's where the gold is.
But
you know
God
what I mean?
love that, and I think
That's
Oh,
where
yeah.
that's where the victory.
100.
I think
Yeah.
even on top of that, the Bible says if you do good to those that do bad to you, you toss lumps of coal on their head. I can only imagine as her being the supervisor, you being the bigger person in the moment has to sting. Like,
And on top of that, I mean like
she might not say it, but like it's just like
Yeah. I mean, she did try to steal my thunder. I'm not gonna lie.
I guarantee she did.
I wanted to have this conversation a long time
I mean that's
ago.
cool. You wanted to, but you
But
didn't.
you didn't do it.
You ain't doing
Right.
it.
But you didn't.
That's the thing.
I was about to say, which further reinforces the dynamics that she already felt a way about. You know what I mean? Like, yo,
Yeah.
I was so like for her to feel so intimidated and or uncomfortable about you
I am
when it was
intimidated.
beef.
Yeah.
And then when you are actually the person that's big enough to make it peace, it's like, wow, she's even better than me at being mature.
Right.
I like that spin.
You gonna set it on her in the parking lot.
I'm not like no, but that's my thing. It was just like I just made it a point to treat people so well and to like see that it's continuation of like, yo, I'm gonna backbite. I'm going to do things to like intentionally make her uncomfortable. And I'm just like, yo, what I do not. I be in my corner. I like legitimately, and this sounds so corny and not real, but I really be in the corner in the break room reading the Bible sometimes because I don't want to, like, I am trying to avoid
I get it.
that, like, energy. And they take it, well, not so much anymore. They've accepted it for the most part. But they used to take it as, like a,
Standoffish.
yeah, like, oh, you're being away. Like, no, just want to protect my peace as best as I can. So, but yeah.
T-Dub said, I think that growth is the foundation of change. Desire, for me, is rooted in change. Cultivating a desire to improve is where it starts.
Yeah.
I think in the cultivating part, because I'm trying to go back to, like, a stubborn, and I'm still stubborn in some places, where it's difficult. But I think to cultivate when you're a stubborn person, right? And I think KJ kind of hit the nail on the head. The Bible says, if you forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors, that means we have a prerequisite. We have to actually forgive the people that owe us in order to be forgiven, in order for grace to be extended to us. Even though God, the Bible says the only reason we know that God loves us because He loved us first. Like we only know to love God because He already loves us.
Yeah.
We only know to give grace because He's already given us grace. Like all these things He did for us in spite of what we did. And I think in order to cultivate it, you have to take an inward look at yourself when you're going through something.
And I think it's utilizing the vantage point that speaks to you. You know, everyone doesn't automatically see things through the lens of others. And like when you're stubborn, you have a at that moment you have, so let's say that's not who you are completely.
Right.
So even if it's a moment, at that moment you have a bias to your point of view.
Right.
So once you have a bias to your point of view and you're like in a selfish moment or a self-centered way of thinking,
Yeah.
like I think that's the time when you have to, okay, right now I'm worried about myself. So if I'm worried about myself, step back and still worry about yourself and say, when have I done someone wrong?
Right.
Did I want some understanding?
Right,
Okay, maybe they want some understanding. Now you start to, like, unfortunately, you have to crack the door. You have to crack the door on your ability. Like, you're just not gonna go from my way, my way, my way, my way, my way, my way. What about them? Like, that's not. It's not like it's a stark difference from where your brain
Right,
is
right,
headed.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like at least you be like my way, my way, my way. I remember one time wanting someone to understand me. Yeah, people should understand me. You know what? Why don't you understand me? You know what? Oh wow, maybe they think
How I
that they need understanding the way I thought I needed understanding when someone misunderstood me. You're still thinking about yourself,
Yeah.
but you're
Right.
putting,
But you're putting a
them
different
in
spin on
your
it.
shoes.
Right, right, right.
So now you can start to empathize. Like
Absolutely.
you crack that door a little bit, so now empathy can let its way in.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that happens. I think it happens that way. I also think it happens like the David and Nathan story. Like where somebody tells you about a story about somebody else and you're like, "Oh yeah," you tell your authentic reaction towards what happened because you're like, "Oh, this has nothing to do with me." Only to find out that they're talking about you. And you're like, "Wait a minute. I've been looking at myself all wrong." Like, hold on. That's how they view me. Like I had a conversation with a couple of my younger cousins last week. And I'm not gonna lie, I was frustrated. So I was frustrated because remember we had the conversation about the symbols. So one of the symbols is cracked. They broke the symbol. So I'm upset. And I'm thinking about all these things. I'm like, listen, I'm just gonna tell them you can't use the symbols. I'm like, maybe I should be like, yo, you gotta give me $200 if you want to use the symbols. Give you basically it's a down payment.
Rental
Give me
fee.
right. Give me
Security
$200.
deposit.
Right, exactly. If they come back broken, I keep your $200.
There you go.
Like, if they don't come back broken, I give you $200 back. Like, but I know they don't have $200.
What you got?
Right. What all do you have? But yeah, so
Put some collateral up.
so I was debating how to have the conversation. But what kept ringing in my head was, why didn't y'all tell me? So the symbol cracked months ago. I noticed it months ago. Nobody ever said anything. Like, I noticed it. I was on the drums one day. I just so happened to be at the drums. I noticed there was a crack. I thought it was a smudge. I tried to rub it out, realized it was a crack. I didn't say anything. Nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing. The other week, I went there. Crack was even worse. The whole symbol, like, it's cracked at the So if you know what a drum symbol is like, there's a bell in the center. So half the bell was cracked.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, I know at any point this is gonna either rip through the side of it and just fall off,
Break, right.
or it's gonna crack all the way around and then it's not gonna be hanging. Like it's just gonna be the little bell. So my cousin approached me about using the symbol, and I told him about it, and I asked. So then I put them all in a group chat because I know they all go play together, and I'm like, am I approachable? Do you think I'm approachable? And I put one of my other cousins in it that had nothing to do with it, but I wanted to make sure that I was saying this properly.
Sound like you setting the pins.
Right.
That's
yeah.
exactly what it is. So I'm like, yo, do you think I'm approachable? Like, do you? Because I'm like, if y'all feel like y'all can't tell me nothing, then who knows how people that don't know me like that feel? Like, y'all are family. Like, yeah, I'm going to be upset, but you should still be able to talk to me. Like, I'm not going to tell you I'm just going to be all honky-dory about you breaking some stuff. But at the same time, like, the fact that you wasn't willing to say anything either speaks to you or it speaks to me. So I have to be able to know which one is which was a tough conversation because I'm like, what if it's me? Like, what if I'm throwing y'all off? I don't think I am, but at the same time, I'm an older cuz. I'm going to give you a lecture. Yes, I do get upset. I get a little animated. I've done stuff in the past. Maybe that's what y'all think. Like, maybe that's where your head goes to. Right.
I remember I smacked you last time.
Right. Well, if it was something like that, like, yeah, I get it. You probably wouldn't say nothing. But yeah, so like, I put my cousin in there, and I was like, yo, I'm like, all right. So I'm like, they're like, yo, cuz, what are you getting at? Like, so they each told me if they felt I was approachable, and they was like, I think I could tell you most stuff. And they was like, I think I could tell you most stuff, and everything's cool. And then there's some stuff where I feel like you might overreact a little bit.
It's because it ain't there $200.
Yeah, but I'm like,
I don't want to talk when I do wrong.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's young stuff. No disrespect to
but
them.
I get it. I get it though, because
Yeah.
I was young
Yeah.
too, and like I know one of my big cousins. My big cousins is strong. Like, nah. Like a couple cousins, I'm like, yo, I could fight him and I'll be all right.
Wow.
Right to violence.
Right.
Escalated so quickly.
Like, but other cousins, I'm like, yeah, I'm not fighting him. Like, this is a automatic L. You just gotta catch it.
Right.
The moment you open your mouth, it's gonna be a wrap. So, but I had to ask. I'm like, all right. So they all told me, and they was like, yo, cuz, what you getting at? And I'm like, honestly, I'm upset. I'm frustrated that it's broken, but I'm even more upset at the fact that y'all didn't want to tell me. Like, because I can see it. It's not like it was hidden. Like, nobody offered to pay for another one. Nobody said, yo, cuz, we were playing. I'm like, this is normal stuff. There's cymbals. You beat on them. It's the drum set. I get it.
Right.
You're going, at some point, something's going to break. Would I have told you to play a little softer? Probably. But it's too late now. It's broken. Like, I can cry about it. I can be mad. I can punch you. But it's still going to be broken.
Right. That's,
I think maybe you're not approachable.
right. I haven't punched any of them yet.
but you're thinking about it. Like, it's a desire in your heart.
Nah. But I thought about it. But no, I'm kidding.
Oh man.
You're not kidding though. You said it a couple
in the
times,
world?
but
but no, I'm not going to. But I'm like, at any point, I would have felt better if you would have just been like, yo, they broke, and like, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'd have been upset. We would have figured out a way to bid it, because I ended up having to pay for it. So like, I buy a new cymbal. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get one.
So that's relatively a new situation, right?
Yeah.
So are you still in a place where you have to figure your desire to be forgiving?
Nah. So like, what I did was, yes. I'll change my answer to yes. So I forgive them. But what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to figure out next steps. How do I continue to be forgiving? Because a lot of things, one thing that I feel that we forget is that forgiveness is a choice, but you have to continually make it. So like, I can forgive you.
Okay.
I can forgive you today and still be mad tomorrow. Like,
That's good.
but like, did I actually forgive you? Like,
That's good.
like, did I sweep it under the rug? Like, all right, this is cool. Like, it's not cool. I don't like what you did, but I'm not going to hold it against you. Or do I say I forgive you and then I hold it against you tomorrow and the next day?
Got you.
So, like, I'm trying to figure out
How to sustain the forgiveness.
Sustain the forgiveness, figure out what the middle ground is.
right.
Because, like, I want to be respectful to forgive you, but I also want to be respectful of myself to keep myself safe.
So in relationships where, you are like the people or the person that you're seeking to forgive, when you that's going to be a continual relationship, how can you, and I'm asking for myself, how can you extend the opportunity for forgiveness? Because I think we all know that it's not easy, like we just saying.
Absolutely.
But like, even in the saying it at the moment, you may not even feel it per se. Like just saying I forgive you, but in reality it's kind of like, yo, that thing stung.
I forgive you because I'm supposed to.
Right. No, but that's a very real thing when you're when you are trying to live a life of faith. You know what I mean?
Honesty.
Right.
That's my answer.
Okay. So I feel like I personally, and please like chime in and correct me if I won't say wrong, but like give your perspective. I feel like the door has to be open for dialogue.
Yeah.
Like it can't just be this blanket I forgive you, we're moving on type of a thing.
Nah. So I think there's a difference between forgiving someone and establishing ground rules. Like, I can forgive you, but we also have to figure out a plan for so this doesn't happen the next time.
So perhaps not that they're different, but there are steps in the process, so that's a part of the process.
So yeah, so I mean, I would say like, all right, so like forgiving somebody, saying you're sorry, you forgive that person, right? That's step one, basically, right? Step two is when I think about it, I don't hold it against you.
But
There's a big,
So-
Right.
large
So-
gap between those steps.
yeah. I feel like there's I don't know what. I feel like there's something in
So,
between that.
oh yes,
though.
yes.
I know-
Oh, my
I know.
bad. You're right. So
got one.
step two, because we have to have a conversation. You're right. So step two would be having a conversation because I believe. All right. So ready? Anytime somebody does something against you, knowingly or unknowingly, right? There's an issue of hurt. There's an issue of broken trust or mistrust. There's an issue of there might be an issue of spite, like where now I want to do something in just to, out of spite because you've done this, like
Right.
like retaliation kind of thing. So what I want to what I want to do is I want to address these things so that I can move in peace. Because the goal for me is peace. The goal for me is peace, but I also want to get an understanding. How did we get to this place? So that's why I asked my cousins, am I approachable? Because I was mad that they broke it, but things break. So I'm not really mad at the fact that it broke. I'm mad that it broke and that you never said anything. Like, I'm mad that it broke and that you didn't have a plan.
Yeah, but back to your relationship example.
Yeah.
I think that when you have been wronged, it's one thing to accept an apology. But I think you should also communicate your intention.
Okay.
Like, so like, first off, I mean, obviously the person should be remorseful. So when you're speaking on a dialogue,
Yeah.
we're speaking on a dialogue happening, like, I mean, like, just so we could all be on the same page,
Right?
let's just go with infidelity.
Yep.
All right, so somebody cheats on somebody.
Yep.
And then if they don't say forgive me for cheating, there's no remorse there. So we're already like
I get you.
off to a bad start.
Yeah.
If they're not communicating any level of remorse. Now, if a level of remorse is communicated, now I mean that's when everybody kind of does whatever they want. Like some people will be like, some people like to investigate. Like why did you do it? And I mean, I'm not really the biggest fan of that. But you know what I mean? Like, but some people are like need more information before they can just forgive you.
Right.
Now, you know what I mean? Like, if you're saying, please forgive me, I mean, I think that's when the person has the option to be like, I feel like I'd like to forgive you, but communicate your intentions. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't completely say that I'm there right now, but I'm
Right.
working towards that.
Yeah, and I think that's a very honest response to that type of situation. Not even just honest. I think it's fair. I think it's above fair. My gripe when those types of things happen is that a lot of times, it's not everybody. Not every man is.
Oh Lord.
I know, right? I'm kidding. But not every person on the opposite end, perhaps the person who committed the infidelity
Not every
or whatever.
offender.
Not every offender is
My bad.
willing to do the accountability thing.
That's true.
So the account levels. So the initial accountability of the offense, sure, they'll accept that. They'll be remorseful, but beyond that, sometimes where they're almost like, "Hey, you said you forgave me."
Change behavior.
Not yet. Not yet.
Uh-oh.
But just this space of like,
Entitlement.
"Oh, you said you forgave me. Why did you roll your eyes at me? Why don't you trust me?" Like getting, kind of feeling like I don't know if that's entitlement or not, but kind of wanting to move the process along quicker than
How long?
I don't. It just no,
Oh,
we not.
I remember this conversation.
Yep. I always wonder
Right,
because
but
I know it's not cookie cutter. I know there's
It's
no
not.
way to
And here's
define
the
that.
thing. Triggers are what they are, and triggers don't happen in a linear way. Like they don't have, and they're not clear cut, and
Yeah.
you don't often know what's going to trigger you until
Correct.
you're triggered.
Yes.
So, and that's where I'm just I have a concern that sometimes that some offenders
Whoa.
are
He doesn't like that word.
almost don't they don't take the offendee's position on like, yo,
So they
this
don't-
thing happened, or this there's something in conjunction with the offense
Yes.
that I'm still not over. A lot of things that I've accepted, we've moved on past some things, but
Right.
there is something that still gets, not even say my blood boiling, but that still hurts me.
I got you.
It's okay to
So-
say blood boiling.
Nah, you.
No, because a lot of times it's just,
So,
You know-
it hurts
So,
my
nah, this-
I
Well,
have
listen-
an example.
Ooh,
hold on,
let's-
wait, before we get to the example.
Yes.
Because I know where you're going.
No, you don't.
I was gonna say,
No,
I feel
you
like
don't.
this is, I don't know.
So,
'cause
so
I'm-
yeah, so I'm we
I
have
didn't
to-
say anything yet.
We have no. I'm talking about before. We have to establish how long. There has to be a timeline.
Dude,
Only because.
So what?
right?
Okay, nah.
Wait.
No. How do you establish a timeline?
Ready?
Stop it.
No. And I get you. But like, all right. So the only
On Tuesday of next week,
no,
I am not
no.
gonna be triggered anymore.
You're-
What's that?
So, but that's what I'm saying. You're never not going to be triggered. It's never going to happen. There's never going to be a time where you're like, yo, I'm so glad 25 years passed. I'm no longer triggered.
Lord.
It's something that's not going to happen. There's still going to be things that remind you of, oh, that was the perfume you wore when I caught you. That was
Lord.
that's the same time. Oh, you were at work a little too long. That's the same excuse you brought up. Like, there are going to be things that are going to trigger you because life continues to happen. So there's no way to say, like, there's no time limit kind of thing. But that's what people use for years about why. And I understand that, like, the things still happen. So there's no way to say, like, all right, I'm not going to feel some type of way, but that's what forgiveness is. That's why I said it's not just forgiving the initial forgiveness, the initial thing, but it's choosing it. And it's the same thing. So, like, that's why, to me, like, when I've heard about infidelities in marriage, for me, I look at it as a deal breaker. But there are some people that are able to keep going. Because I understand, like, I don't know if I could choose forgiveness each and every day. I don't know if I could choose forgiveness when you remind me of something that you used to do. I don't know if I could choose forgiveness after 10 years and you've been good or solid for 10 years, but now I see this one person that kind of looks like your type, or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I can continually choose it and then respect you at the same time.
It's not continuously choosing it. What it is you don't know, because what you do know is bad days are inevitable.
Right.
Like you said, there is no timeline on being triggered. So you will be triggered even though
Even when you don't want to be.
no, check it out, check it
You know
out.
what I'm saying?
Even when the black-haired version of me cheated on you, you will be triggered when a woman speaks to the gray-haired version of me.
Very true.
Yes. Yes, you will. And the thing is, the danger is one person's bad day aligning with another person's bad day. Because you're both making a commitment.
Correct.
The cheater.
Hopefully.
No.
Hopefully.
No. Hear me out.
Yep.
The cheater is making a commitment to understand that at any given moment, whatever infraction that occurred may rear its ugly head in the future. In perpetuity, unfortunately.
Right.
Like it may happen. There's a
Right,
possibility. Like you may be one of the people that you just have a rough year and then this fades into the abyss and you never hear about it again.
You thought.
No, you may. I don't know. I can't speak to every person.
Right.
But you may be the person that like till you're out of here every few months something you do triggers a memory that negatively leads you to an argument, and that's what you are committing to.
Yeah.
Correct.
You're committing to the fact that it used to be every day and now it's once every 6 months. And that is technically growth.
Technically, you're right.
because you used to get you went from getting pressed bro. You went from getting pressed multiple
making
times
progress.
a day.
What up?
You went from
You
getting
say you making progress.
that is progress.
making progress.
You went from getting
yes.
okay. Think about it like this: if you had an issue with junk food,
Yep.
and you ate junk food 3 times an hour,
Right.
and then the dentist was like, "Listen, it's gonna be bad for you if you keep doing this."
Right.
Just because you don't completely stop, but now you eat junk food once every 6 months. Did you make progress?
You did make progress.
You made lots of progress. You made progress that the world needs to acknowledge and recognize. Now add that to somebody spazzing out on an infraction that occurred to them and being like, "Yo, you supposed to get over." Hey,
Yo, see, but here's my thing though, because it's like, yo, legitimately,
Go ahead.
it don't have to be a spaz. It's just like a lot of times it's just the acknowledgement that something triggered me or whatever, and I need you to, I guess, acknowledge said situation.
oh, give me an example.
But no, and I'm saying because not every person who's been the offendee is triggered in a way where their response is
Right.
violent or loud.
You know what's funny? You're right. You are 100% right. I think, to your point, the person that did it has, and it's not fair. Like, oh, pardon that.
Muted the wrong one.
I was muted.
Nah, yeah, I muted it.
But the person that actually did the thing, their trauma, and you don't get to say it's trauma.
Okay.
But your trauma is like being pressed about it. When you're trying to
move
be
on.
better. So every time you're reminded of it, it feels like a spaz out. To receive it. But you're and don't get me wrong. Like, yo, you cheated, you don't get to make the rules now. Like you don't get to be like I can't believe you're coming at me for stepping out on you. Like, I'm sorry, but
you're right.
You're not afforded that luxury of talking about how you're treated. Like you really gotta, for lack of better words, you gotta or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you either deal with it or you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be like, good for you. You're crying about being held accountable for cheating.
So
right.
my
And I was just gonna say, like, even with being held accountable, cool. That's great. I am a firm believer in a level of reassurance that is not pressed for. Like, I don't want to have to ask you to reassure me. Like, you should be offering
Yeah.
that on a level on a level that suits our situation, where you're not jumping over all these crazy hurdles, but it's just like just really offering support in the process.
So yes, so I agree. So the conversation I've had in the past is that you have one, you as the offendee has to choose to forgive, but that's not like the whole process, because the offender has to now commit to doing things to make things not to appease, but to right the wrong kind of thing. Because now your significant other has now a trust issue because you've broken their trust. They also have they might have anxiety. They might have, like, a lot of things come with this. So now with that, it is your job as the offender to now soothe these things. So, like, that may be, all right, cool. Instead of
Clear communication.
right,
Open.
letting you know,
there we go.
open conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm
like,
saying,
we have
like, very
conversation,
open, like
we have to have things, and then, like, for real, what I tell people is, like, yo, for real, don't hide things.
Question.
at all.
Don't hide anything.
Not a thing.
Even if it sounds bad, still tell them.
Don't even keep your fart to yourself.
Your what?
Fart.
Your fart?
Yeah.
Question.
Who farted?
What does that look like?
What does it look like? So, all right. So, this is what I would say. I've never been this far down the road, but in my theory, this is my theory. I don't know if it works for sure. Don't blame me if it don't. So, but all right. So, ready? Say you cheat on your girl or your man with somebody at the job, right? Because this is, most people do it as whoever's readily available.
Not that part. The part when you said, I'm talking about the sustained forgiveness part.
So
So what does that look like when people say, because you said something to the effect of the offender being remorseful and doing things to ensure that the offendee knows that you are remorseful for.
So the offendee has to choose to forgive. The offendee also has to make a conscious effort to try to still give grace, to try to still give trust. Because what's happening is the only way to rebuild trust is from the ground up. So it's from square one. And that may be, I trust you to put gas in the car and not just take it for a joyride. That might be that I trust you to
Keep your pants up.
Huh?
Yeah, but I mean that's no. That's the changed behavior.
Yeah.
But when we speak about the offendee, and I'm not knocking the offendees.
Right.
What I'm saying is communication is important and very difficult.
Yes.
And I think we do ourselves a disservice when we have these conversations to not speak on the responsibility
Of the offendee.
that an offendee has. They are not. It's not fair to them that they have a responsibility.
Correct.
Yeah.
But they have been.
They also have.
But a situation has been thrust upon them.
Correct.
Where now, if they want to continue the situation, it's going to be a lot of hard work for everyone.
Yes, both sides.
And when I, like, personal experience, I've been in the situation. Like, when you are asking, what can I do
They have to provide something.
to show that I'm remorseful?
Right.
That's,
Well, yeah, no. So, like, you have to, as the offendee, you have to. This is why I said there has to be a time limit, just to be fair. But you also, the person has to be willing to give grace and willing to give mercy. So, like, it has, and it's a tough thing. This is why, like,
Very
I understand.
difficult.
This is why, like I said, if it's me, I
One of the
understand
most
why
difficult
people
things in the
just
world.
leave. because it's a lot of work
It
to
is.
do to sustain a
So
relationship
much. And
after
that's
trust
why
has
people
been
just
broken.
be tapping out.
Exactly.
Too much.
It's exactly. So it's just be like, oh, well, I mean, it's a lot easier. And to be completely honest, if I'm just gonna call a spade, even dipping out doesn't necessarily fix the issue.
It doesn't, because you
now
still
you take it
end
over
up,
to the next person. Like, and the same. Now, what really happens? The reality is, the next person now has to fix the mistakes of the last person.
Wait. Hold on. Run that back.
Yeah, I was gonna
So,
say.
You
like-
said even if you said no, go back.
So, all right, ready? So, let me explain. So,
If who dips out?
right,
Like if the relationship, if they choose
they
to
choose
like
to split.
because
so like, all right, somebody gets cheated on, right?
Okay.
One person has baggage. The cheater just goes happy-go-lucky. Maybe they try not to cheat in the future. Maybe they try not to get caught because cheaters do what they do.
It's not true. Go ahead.
Not to everybody, but
they got their favorites.
it-
Okay,
correct.
I'm sorry.
Yes, you're
That
right.
was,
No, it's right. You're right. As a cheater, I definitely did have favorites. I'm not gonna lie. But the person who was cheated on, the person that had the most skin in the game, now has a trust issue, and the issue is what people tend to doubt first is themselves, because they say, I picked this person. Or they'll say, I always pick people like this, people that hurt me, people that do things even though I give them my all, even though I give them all that, everything they want and stuff like that. Because this is what happens in the mind. They talk up to themselves and they point the finger at themselves. They also point the finger, like externally, they point the finger at the other person, but internally, they point the finger at themselves. So what happens is when they get into their next relationship, a lot of times if they haven't done the work already, that person now has to deal with when they trigger them. So now you do something, and it may just be you're just a nice person. Like you just, oh yeah, so and so had a flat tire, I helped him change the tire. Who was
Bad.
it? Right.
Bad.
But that's
Was it a
but that's
woman?
what I mean
Right.
about clear communication. Like, some of these some of these actions are okay. Like if that
Right.
that's who you are, but it's like, that phone call needs to be made. That
Correct.
like, all right, I'm here, whatever, and it not feel like, because if you are the offender and you feel like that's too much, I honestly I feel like don't stay in the relationship if you feel like that's too much.
Right.
If you feel like,
Wait, you were talking about a new person doing that though.
Yeah, I'm talking about a new person.
oh, okay,
But
Yeah,
at the
like
same time,
Music
at the
Soul
same
Child
time,
previous
yeah.
cats.
yeah,
Like you know what I mean? Like basically but I mean that's just what it boils down to.
At the same time, you're right. Like if you're trying to, as the offender, if you're trying to reconcile, if you're trying to fix the relationship, then yeah, you have to do these things because you made a mess. If you spill milk at the house, your mom makes you clean it up.
It's a bad analogy. Huh?
Hopefully.
No, you know why?
Why?
Because everybody says no use crying over spilled milk, and this person definitely has the right to cry.
Well, I mean, that person didn't spill the milk though.
No, but it says the
milk is
the phrase
spilled,
is
yeah.
no use crying over spilled milk,
no
and
one's crying.
you're definitely gonna deal with tears.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you can't say that in such a dismissive way. That's why I said milk is a terrible example.
My bad. I didn't know y'all like milk so much. No.
Imagine you being like, yo, so you crying because I cheated?
Nah, that's wild. That's wild.
Exactly. That's why I said it doesn't work. Like, yo, could you get over it already? I'm fixing it.
Right.
I'm cleaning it up.
Nah.
Not going.
But I think I mean, so I feel like I may have mentioned this before in a previous conversation, but it's like, at the end of the day, even as the offendee, it's like, I don't believe you want your person to be and stuck in this place of like,
No.
Like you both want peace. You both want to be able to kind of move forward and thrive.
You're mutually struggling.
Correct.
It's
It
one
is,
of the
right.
hardest
It
things
really is.
in the world
It
to
is.
overcome.
But it's
Yeah.
like I just feel like I haven't overcome this, but I haven't been in the situation to say this, but I believe that, I mean, like, wholeheartedly, only, like, I swear to you, only God can get you to a certain point in some of these situations, because you're really there's just a lot of things that you want to do that you can't do in your own strength, but also just that communication, like really saying, yo, my feelings are extra hurt today,
Right.
and it being okay to say that,
Right.
and hearing that, like, yo, when I say that to you, I am not telling you that you're the scum of the earth. I'm just letting you know that my feelings are here right now, and I don't know how to really
Process.
like, not even process. Like, I've processed the feelings. I don't know how to interact with you in this moment because I'm having these feelings, but I still love you. And I still want to work through this.
I think that's an important conversation to have. Because, like, it's like we just said, you're both struggling, struggling mentally. And I think a lot of times it's hard to articulate to the other party.
Yeah.
And I think if you guys can, if two people can get to that place to be able to say, yo, it's not that I'm trying to, like, when I remind you, like, this reminded me of when you did the X, Y, and Z, it's not to tear you down. I'm just telling you that I need a little more grace today. Or I need you to be a little bit more understanding that I might seem standoffish, but it's only because I'm trying to work through how I'm feeling to get to a place where I can still show you love and respect and stuff like that. And then being understanding as the other party to be like, all right, cool. Like, but understanding that they still care about you and want to be with you. Because a lot of times, like I said, it all starts in the mind. So a lot of times we just tell each other, oh, well, they don't really, well, if you feel that way, then why are you still with me? Like, this is the argument that typically happens after.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, I did that so long ago. Like, I can't take it back now. Like, that, because this is the thought process. Like, I think they look at it from a point of view of punishment instead of a place of clarity. And I think that's the issue. The issue is that it hasn't been quite articulated so they can understand the difference between the two. Like, I'm just notifying you as opposed to I'm trying to say this because I'm bashing you.
Somebody introduced me to this thing called nonviolent communication.
That sounds great.
It's actually, I haven't listened to the entire thing yet, but
So still violent.
no,
I'm just I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
Like a jab or two left.
but the premise within that is, expressing what your needs are, expressing what your needs are, and trying to understand and be understood, so that you're not only letting your partner know what you need, or not necessarily your partner, but like the other person know what you need, but also like, hey, I'm receptive to what's going on with you too, internally and externally. Like, I know you just rolled your eyes at me. I'm an eye roller. And I don't be doing it on purpose. It just happens. But like, yo, don't internalize that, please. Like, I'm dealing with something as just like you. You know what I mean? We're both dealing with this thing, but I don't want you to continue to take this.
It's a heart.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Right.
She's like, I kind of do, but I don't.
But anyway, yeah. So, anywho, once I finish watching that, I will bring some more information to
Crochet said love. Crochet is love.
Crochet.
She said forgiveness is for you, not the other person.
It's a fact.
I definitely agree.
That is a fact. And I think, to her point, that is why working towards that desire is to free yourself. No pun intended with the fantasia. You
Go ahead and free yourself.
But you definitely don't want to be you definitely don't want to be under the bondage of whatever the issue is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
I know we kind of utilized a certain example to like, speak at length, but
Yeah.
whatever you have to forgive, like like you definitely want to free yourself from the situation and not be stuck on, perseverating on it or
Right.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And just kudos. I just want to give a shout out and kudos to those who are working through issues, because as we've already said, like we understand
difficult.
that is very difficult place to maneuver. So I do want to give kudos and shout outs to people that are going through it and that are still holding strong, because that is real love right there.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Listen, man. Yeah. Anywho. This was
Because
a
if
great
my wife, no, I'm
conversation.
kidding.
Nah, listen here.
No.
Nah, but I will say that I'm an advocate for therapy. So, if you cannot, in your own strength, again, figure these types of things out, or if it's really affecting you in such a way where you just can't, you're not yourself, just try a therapist. Like, man, listen,
Give
they
it a
get
shot.
paid to listen to you, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. That outside perspective, someone who doesn't really know you in that way, to kind of gauge if your thoughts are, I don't want to say normal, but if your thoughts are intrusive and whatnot, like, it's worth it to talk to somebody who could help get you going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, yeah. On that note, what time is it?
It is 10:23.
Yeah. I think we have to make sure we tell them to spread the good word.
You know it.
What about it now?
Huh?
What about it?
What about the good word? The good word is good.
Okay.
Listen, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. SpreadTheWord.store. SpreadTheWord.store. SpreadTheGoodWord.com.
Right.
Get your Christian apparel, wear it, memorize it, or just wear it. I mean, I'd hope you would internalize it. Put it on your heart, write it there, so you may not sin against God, as the word says. But if you don't want to, at least wear it over your heart. It'll be close enough. No, I'm kidding. But
True.
You're funny.
God is good. His word is better. But they're all the same. I'm just kidding. These are jokes.
Oh my
So,
Yo.
I don't think we have anything coming up. You got anything going on?
No.
Promote it.
What?
I don't know. You be having
that was an
stuff going
intrusive
on,
thought.
yo. Nah, you be having stuff going on.
Like what?
You creative over there. I don't know.
Oh, I have another podcast as well. I mean, it's called Seen and Not Heard.
What y'all be talking about?
We actually talk about anything that can be seen or heard, in a sense.
there was a pun there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, but it is.
But yeah, I mean, so we root things, cultural things, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes we speak about a specific movie and do a review. Sometimes we speak about a specific show and or album, and we may review those things. Sometimes we'll have topics that lead back to culture, music, and or movies.
Oh, cool.
So
I like it.
that's that.
All right. Well, congratulations on your
you,
newest
thank you.
endeavor.
Oh man, it may be one of my oldest actually.
Oh, really?
Since my since my first podcast that I had done prior to the pandemic ended, I came up with that concept. But I just but it's been a while.
Right.
And I was just always thumbing through the details in my mind. So
But it's being actualized, and that's
Right.
something to congratulate.
oh,
Right.
thank you guys so
Yeah.
much. Appreciate you guys. But
So check it out on YouTube, Seen and Not Heard.
yeah.
I believe.
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right. Well, what anything else?
I thought you were gonna say if all hearts and minds.
I was going to say
You
that.
about to say
honestly.
the prayer has been
That's
prayed?
new. Yeah.
The offering has been taken.
Nah,
About
but
that time.
The deacon is flicking the lights right now.
but until next time, you guys have a good one, and Yeah, that's what AJ would say. He would say allow Jesus to be the lotion.
that lathers your
Ashy soul. Amen.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's soft as a mystic rain that gently touches our souls. It cools the fire that burns in us, and we simply lose control. So just rain down, Lord, please. Let your love fall like rain. Just rain, Lord, please. Just rain down, Lord, please. Let your love just shower us. Just rain, Lord, please.